So what's the deal with winning and losing? Doing this wargaming thing, naturally we want to bring our best to the game. And I define best as this idea of we're trying to step out of space and time. We've got the miniatures, we've got the terrain, we've got the narrative, we've got the setting. Let's sit down and really immerse ourselves in a game. And there will be times with wargaming where if I step back for a moment, and it might be just to look at the tabletop, it might be to pause and analyze where units are, in that moment, I feel like I'm in the game. So the three things that I'm trying to bring: the narrative. Let's build the narrative. Let's push the narrative. At the same time, bringing my best tactica. Now, sometimes I get into trouble looking for tabletop glory or seizing the day in that moment on the table, kind of that chaotic neutral gambling everything on the D6, or depending on the system, the D8, but also taking into account you, my fellow gaming partner, my gaming friends, the local gaming community. Where are we having fun? Are we doing a cool mission? Are you trying out new units? Bringing that all together. So I say within that framework, this idea of winning and losing. How important is winning and losing? Now, it depends. If we're playing a casual type game or a full narrative type game, I'm going to try and win, but I want to be entertained. I want to have something happen that we're going to really remember in the weeks and months and seasons to come. But on the opposite side, if we're talking about tournament play, I'm there to be a good player. I'm there to network and make friends, but I'm also there to win, to try and at least place on some of the top tables. So within that framework, winning and losing is important. Do I have to win every game? No. But I don't want to lose every game. So taking that step back, this idea of playing a wargaming system and it's loss after loss after loss. And what do we do there? That's what I wanted to focus in this vlog, breaking that losing streak or being aware of some of the opportunities to navigate it. So the first question, of course, winning versus losing. There is a learning curve to a gaming system. There is learning your army. A perfect example would be starting a new gaming system altogether. Now, it's been a couple of years, 2 or 3 or something. God Tier. God Tier is an excellent skirmish-based war game. I've pushed up some God Tier Tactica to the channel here under the God Tier playlist. When I jumped into God Tier, I did that with a few other friends. We were all new players to it. Yes, we had played other war games. A few of the players came from skirmish-based war games from Games Workshop, but we were all equal on that learning curve, and we were all kind of losing and figuring out the different combos and unlocks for the war bands together. That's different compared to Warhammer 40,000. The Warhammer 40,000 gaming group, if you were to jump into that, there is a tremendous amount of new players. There is a tremendous amount of experienced players. It kind of depends on who you get paired with or who you pick up with the game. When I jumped back into 40K a number of years ago at the dawn of time, I wasn't playing for a while, a good number of years. Just felt like, hey, I'm going to jump back into 40K. Let me see if there's a gaming club around, and literally found one nearby. When I visited the club for that first night, I wasn't walking in there with no 40K experience, but my 40K experience wasn't updated. So as soon as I updated my army and got in 5 or 6 games, those first 5 or 6 games I got totally destroyed. But then having previous 40K experience in that unlock, I was quickly able to learn quickly. So within that framework, there is a learning curve. And I understand, I say that because I understand as a new wargaming enthusiast, the currency is the win. You're putting this time into your army. You're putting this time into learning tactics. You're putting this time into rolling dice and playing the game. How do you know you're doing things correctly in the beginning? And this is independent of any system. Could be X-Wing miniatures, could be anything. How do you know you're progressing? Well, winning. If you win games, you're doing something right somewhere. Okay, maybe 1 or 2 were lucky on the dice, But generally speaking, against a spectrum of players, if I'm winning, I'm doing something correct in this wargaming system. We want to focus on that, yes, but you kind of have to learn the way. So the first entry point, do you have wargaming experience or not to break that learning curve? If you do have wargaming experience, is it interfering? Now, some things are transferable with wargaming. I've pushed up to the channel here, Wargaming Tactics. This is a series of vlogs and analysis points where we're saying we're doing this wargaming thing with dice and cards and miniatures. There are certain kind of universal wargaming 101 laws to look out for. And if you can become aware of them, you can tailor them for your specific system and utilize them to increase your win. And I want to encourage you, if you're new to the channel, to check those out. But the reason why I wanted to push those out there is sometimes if we're jumping into a new wargaming system, let's say like God Tier, just as an example, but again, could be any system, having some experience can hurt you because you're pulling on a framework that might not be universal, where if you've never played a war game before, and I mean this in a positive way, you have no idea what you're doing. You have nothing that you have to unlearn or rewrite or adjust. So if we can fill that tactica with what's correct, it's going to crystallize and you will actually do better. And I've seen it. You will do better than people that have played other systems. Here's a example from the dawn of time. Some of you who have been following my channel, and I've been fortunate enough to have you following my channel since Way of Samhan. Now, there is a name I have not heard in a long time. At that time, I was playing the Sons of Russ, and there were a lot of Space Marine players, and I thought, well, let's play Eldar, and let's kind of have jet bikes and Vipers and skimmers and all that type of stuff. So I created my army, and I was really excited. Brought it to the club, got smashed, brought it to the gaming store, got smashed, ready to just drop kick it in the trash. And I realized in that moment, I was playing this army like Space Wolves. Now, we're going back in the dawn of time. The stats for a jet bike were the same as a Space Marine in theory. Same toughness, same number of wounds. They could move further, could normal move where you could turbo boost, 12 or 18, and they had the same armor save, slightly less leadership. So on paper, I was looking and saying, well, they're kind of like Space Marines. I don't remember the exact point value at the time, but in true Games Workshop imbalance, it was something like a Space Wolf was like 12 points for a model, and a jet bike was like 16, and as soon as you upgrade it, it's like 18 or 20 points. So this is an idea of I was coming over, stat-wise, they were the same as Space Wolves, only instead of some rune powers, they had some Space Elf magic powers. But I had 1/2 or 1/3 of the army on the tabletop. If I lost 10 Space Marines, okay, I'm still in the game. I lose 10 jet bikes, I'm hurting. So I say that as a framework where it took a couple of games to unlearn, to unlock that, where if I came in right from the beginning with no experience, it would be a little bit different. So if you're losing playing an existing wargaming system with experience, are you porting over knowledge that might not map one-to-one? And if you're a new wargaming enthusiast, you don't have that system bias, then are you looking at the tactica correctly and freshly? What can you do to really program yourself and learn that? The bigger thing I would say is if you're looking at a losing streak, if you're new to the system, you need a mentor. That's just, we're not talking about like becoming a young blood or kind of a neophyte or squire or anything like that. But you need to kind of latch on to someone that's playing your type of army and can illustrate some of these concepts directly and answer some questions. Now, depending on the situation, if you happen to be part of a larger gaming club or a gaming group, this could be just hanging out with similar players and talking to them. One of the great ways to do that is to just pull out your list or pull out your war bands and say, here's what I'm running. What do you see? If they run something similar, what are they running? If you have a chance to play games with them or against them, afterwards be like, what do you see? What could I have done better? We're going to get to the win. We are. And I'm not trying to turn wargaming down to this dry thing, but I want to break that losing streak, or I want to break that series of losses. So having some sort of mentor that can help you and guide you, that is absolutely key. Well, what if we're a gaming club that was just established, right? You picked up the system, you and some friends, you're meeting at the store, someone else joined in, 2 other people joined in, you've got 12 players, and you're all right there in the beginning. YouTube. Hopefully my vlogs are giving you some ideas, but the ability to plug into YouTube when I was putting together some of my tournament lists for both X-Wing and God Tier, I was literally watching other players, Googling their lists, Googling top this, top that, watching how it played out, pausing and asking myself, well, would I have done that decision, or would I go here, unpause, see what happens? When they attack a certain unit, pause, think about my dice output, and if I rolled it, would I have enough to potentially beat that unit? Unpause and see what they do. YouTube is a crazy, amazing resource to watch and comment and see some real-time games, not only in your system, but with your army or the army you're thinking to build, plus the mission structure. Man, if that stuff was really codified like it is when I was playing 40K aggressively in the tournament scene, that would have been a secret weapon like crazy. That would have been amazing. So looking to absolutely unlock that. A third piece. Now this is for both veteran wargamers and new wargamers. Sometimes you miss out on opportunities on the table. And I define an opportunity as twofold. My opponent makes a mistake, a tactical mistake, whatever that's going to be, positioning, firing at the wrong unit, going after the wrong mission objective. It doesn't really matter what it is for the scope of this vlog. They made a mistake. Question is twofold. Did I actually see the mistake on the table? Was I aware of it? Hopefully. And was I in a position playing my side of the game to have some units ready to react to take advantage of that mistake? You got to be able to see it, and you got to be able to take advantage of it. Likewise, was I able to create opportunity by maybe going for a mission objective or working an outflank or doing something tactical-wise that I got them to react to? Kind of put that opportunity out there, and when they go for it, draw it away or punish them for it. Can I set things up, and can I execute and follow through? So sometimes you've got your army, you've got your list, whatever it's going to be. Sometimes in a regular mission, it's hard to see that. Here's what I mean by a regular mission. You've got the rule book, and here are the standard missions. In the back of the God Tier book, we've got the standard missions. I'm playing Chain of Command. Here are the standard missions. You might roll a mission. You might pick a mission. You might decide to let someone else pick a mission. That's the bread and butter of your wargaming system. Break out of that where you can play a game and just see what happens. Just see what happens. Be free from that structure. Now, you need to know that structure because those are the missions you're going to play. An example would be, what if you got together with 2 or 3 other players, 2 or 3 other factions on each side, just threw some models down, threw some stuff down, and try to make stuff happen. When we were really trying to unlock God Tier warbands are set up where each player can control 1, 2, or 3. So the game scales based on the size. The ideal way to play is 3. Ideal, not the only. 3 warbands. This way, the warbands all kind of interact and synergy with each other. So you've got your 3 warbands and their ability to act. When we were trying to unlock, we had a bigger table to play on, pulled out some Battletech hex, big hex maps that we had, and played 6 warbands on each side. We got multiple players to control and just throw down a lot of warbands, see what happens. Is the game unbalanced? Yeah, a little bit. Are there areas where it doesn't quite work? Yeah, but we got to experiment out of the rule structure, and you just got to see a lot of stuff happened. Can you just do a 4-player game on each side and go head-to-head and say, look, for 4 hours, we're just going to try or 3, depending on what the system is, or 2, we're just going to try and smash each other up. Let's attack. Let's see combos. Let's see opportunities. What can you see? And outside of the traditional mission structure, if you're just having fun, you're just messing around, then you can possibly see those opportunities. Either mistakes your friend makes or opponent, or the opportunities you set up that you lead them into and then pull away or punish them for on the table. Looking at that, breaking that losing streak. There's going to be times where you're upgrading your ability to play, right? You've got some proficiency in your system, and now you say, hey, I'm going to play a little bit more competitively and go to some tournaments. There is a learning curve there. You jump to a new system, there is a learning curve. We're going to have to eat some losses. But, 4 or 5 games in a row, or if you reach a point where you say, look, I'm just absolutely frustrated doing this wargaming thing. I mean, I love the narrative. I love the miniatures, but this is not working. Then that is the starting point. That is the starting point. Explore that. And then when you're ready, step up for that next game and take that win.